Guys, here's a new video for a brand new series that I'm doing. So it's basically me voicing over bad reviews for restaurants and hotels and putting a little funny twist on it. I mean, they're pretty amusing anyway. But I'm going to have a little play around anyway. Okay, shall we begin? Yeah. Worst restaurant in England. This was by far the worst restaurant I've ever been in the whole country. Never in my life have I refused to pay for a meal, but the muck served up to my son, allegedly Tony the Whole, but looked more like a couple of discount Yorkies and some cheap sliced sausages dumped on top. Not only looked unappetizing, but made me feel physically sick. Clearing the Trade Descriptions Act means nothing to these people, as the picture in the window told a totally different story about their fare. Good thing they didn't argue with me about the bill. Smelt a bit funny too. Could probably do with a visit from health and safety, as best things all round would be to close them down. Yeah, all over a bloody toad in the hole. If I could score this less than one, I would. Dirty, sticky, run down, in serious need of redecoration. Smoke from fryer making me eyes stream. Food dreadful. Staff didn't know the difference between the fish on the menu. Glasses were dirty, windows filthy. Overpriced for what we received, and what we had to endure during the experience. I left feeling dirty outside and in, and queasy at the thought of where and what I'd just eaten. I only stayed because there were quite a few of us, and we didn't want to walk out in the cold to find another place. Advice? Suffering the cold is far better than suffering in this place. Please don't eat here. The experience was absolutely sickening. The floor was dirty, the condiments were sticky, the tablecloth was sticky. It was the waitress's first day. She had obviously had no proper training. She didn't know the difference from one fish to the other. Got the order wrong twice. The restaurant was smoky from the fryers. Couldn't wait to leave. Only stayed because it's where the crowd of us were. We were glad to get out of the wind and cold. Walk past this place, the hotel inspector would have a field day. Contender for worst restaurant in the world. Terrible. Terrible. Owner coaxes you in with stories of how great it is. What's the cat at the door? Are you a dog cat? Silly cat. He's still there. Let me go let him in. What are you doing? This guy is crazy. What are you doing? Look at this guy. He like monster. He like monster, yeah? I'll let you go bed. After being rudely interrupted by the cat, Anakin, I will continue. Contender for worst restaurant in the world. Terrible. Owner coaxes you in with stories of how great it is. Terrible service. Long waits. Terrible food. Tasted as if from a can. And the tiny portions to boot. And overpriced. One choice of wine served in a jar. You are told how wonderful it will be. It's terrible. The owner had scalped from his post at front door by the time we had finished. Bastard. Fat-shamed. Absolutely disgusted in the customer service I received tonight. When collecting my finished plate from the table, still with chicken, salad, and chips on it, the waiter told me that next time I should concentrate on eating the salad rather than chips. How dare he? Who is he to tell me what I should and should not eat? I've lost 3 stone recently by eating healthy and allowed myself a treat night, which I am now regretting picking this restaurant. Definitely won't be returning, and you should probably train your staff not to fat-shame people, because if I had had an eating disorder, things could have been a lot worse. Disgusting. Worst Indian takeaway ever. Just had the worst ever Indian meal. The sauce was split and the meat dish was just tasteless and dry. Not sure what meat they use, but it was so tough and hard it was inedible. And the chips must have been fried 1,000 times until they were just pure oil. Even the garlic naan was tasteless. I'm just worried we'll all be ill tomorrow now. Worst £18 ever spent. Bland. Bland cauliflower cheese and hard potatoes. Could do with using Maris Piper potatoes for the roasties. A bit mean on the meat. Please improve these things. Consistently bad food. We've been here many times over 20 years of living locally, and recently, every time we've been, the food has been low quality. Burnt potatoes, food that's evidently been there for hours. Burnt Yorkshire puddings, all ran out. Wouldn't recommend. If we want a carvery, we go elsewhere. Dirty. The cups and teapots were very badly stained. The cutlery was an absolute disgrace. The knives and forks still had egg and other food on them from goodness knows how long. Wish we had seen this before we ordered and paid, or we would have left. An absolute disgrace. Food was cold and not very appetizing. Came away very disappointed. We won't be going back. Sorry, haven't got that. Called in for coffee and lunch at 1 p.m. Cafe very quiet, yet there were no paninis, toasties, scones, etc. Asked for skinny latte, and initially given full fat. Really disappointing, and no atmosphere whatsoever. Never consistent. Never consistent. This is the problem with this pub/restaurant. Yesterday's meal was sad. Cold starters and really poor main courses. Service was slow to stop. Very poor indeed. Until we see an improvement, the plough is out. Ugh. Food was all right. Service not so. Woman outside smoking before she reluctantly came in to take our order. Is that it? Unbelievable. Appalling. Disgusted by the treatment from the male blonde waiter or manager that was closing the restaurant on Tuesday the 1st. His attitude towards paying customers was disrespectful and judgmental. I will not ever recommend or eat in your restaurant, and I will make that clear to every person I know. Absolute joke. Absolute joke. Ordered food 2 hours ago for some foreigner to answer the phone and not be able to speak a word of English. For the food not to come, and me daughter had to wait again to get some more food. Absolute piss take. Place needs shutting down. A little bit over the top. Right, I think that'll do for this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe as well. Drop some comments in there. If you do like it, then do that stuff. And if you find any good TripAdvisor or just restaurant reviews or hotel reviews, then pop them in the comments down below, and I may use them in the next video, because I will be doing one, because there's some good stuff out there. Anyway, the camera's there. See ya.